Lumix gang, are you around?
Have y'all been hearing rumors? Because we have been hearing rumors.
We have been hearing rumors. Y'all know we don't normally have a lot to say about Lumix because really they don't be doing too much. But
It literally has been 6 years of this product cycle.
what?
Yeah. The S1H,
What?
it's been 6 years.
Has it really?
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah. Canon slow to move, but has been changing that in recent days.
Just last year.
Not
You're talking about since recent days. Last year. They had one good year. Calm down.
Sony is changing stuff all the time. Uncharacteristically slow year last year, but they change stuff all the time. Lumix, bro, your crowd has been waiting on you forever, bro. So we have I don't know why I called it S1H. The Lumix S1R II is rumored to be announced at the end of this month. And as willing to admit this, there are no details about what this camera is going to be and what it's going to do. So what I wanted to do in this segment is I wanted to ask you guys, if you're a Lumix shooter, what does this camera need to do for you? What specs does it need? What price point does it need to be for this to be something for you to say, I'm rocking with Lumix. I'm not going to go to Sony. I'm not going to go to Canon. I'm not going to go to Fuji. I'm going to stay here at Lumix. So my question to you, Brandon, is what does this camera have to do to stop the bleeding? Because I have a feeling that Lumix has been losing some people.
I think anybody who's still with Lumix, they are very much like you when it comes to Canon. They're either so invested that they can't go anywhere, or they've been hoping for so long that when they finally get something, they're going to be so ecstatic about it and they're not going to go anywhere.
Yeah.
Now, the one thing I can say about Lumix, and I know I give Lumix a hard time because you guys are fun to make fun of. It is because Lumix does throw, and this is not why I give Lumix a hard time. I just do it because it's fun. Lumix does tend to throw everything at their cameras.
Yep.
And so when Lumix takes 6 years to upgrade a camera, I am so interested to see how far ahead they will be.
Okay.
Because, I remember when I had the 1DX Mark II, which was a $6,000 camera, right?
Mm-hmm.
They came out with the GH4 or the GH3. Maybe it was the GH3.
Mm-hmm.
And it offered 4K at up to 60 frames per second and 1080 at up to 120 frames per second, which at the time, the 1DX Mark II was the only camera that could do that. Granted, you're right, it was a Micro Four Thirds camera, but still, they threw those features into that camera, and then that camera, I think, was like sub $2,000.
Yeah.
And so to put those type of specs into a camera like of that price point was crazy, and that was 1DX Mark II days. If they come out with because the S1R is their flagship line. Like they have the S1R, which I believe is for photography, R resolution. H is for video, I believe. I am so interested to see what they're going to do as far as like pushing flagships. But I do think that we are going to see, most likely, if they give it some decent video specs, we will see high resolution. We will probably see open gate filming. So if we see something like 8K, open gate, up to 60 frames per second, and all the video features that we, come to love that they throw inside of the Lumix cameras, like peaking and false color and vector scopes and all those things that we normally get inside of a Lumix camera. And it is a photography monster. I can almost guarantee you, if it hasn't already been shot, this camera will end up in the desert with a set of Blazars on it, and it will mob a Bronco, and we will see some beautiful footage out of it. And the Shield and Chief will already
be on it.
Will already be on it. So I think that will be really cool, and I think it'll be interesting to see what Lumix does. The one thing I don't think we'll see, but I hope we do see,
Mm-hmm.
is a continuation of the relationship with Ari.
Yes.
I don't know what they would do, but I would be very interested to see if this camera continues the relationship with Ari. But because it's not an S1H, I don't think it will.
Yeah. Roving Earth is very true. Cameras are now just catching up to what the S1H was doing. So, just to kind of remind people that aren't Lumix shooters here on Uncensored, when it released, 6K, 24, 10-bit. Pretty nice.
That's 6K open gate though, right?
You know, it says 6K, 24 video, 422, 10-bit DCI, 4K, Ultra HD, 4K.
Okay.
Does it say?
So I think that's 6K. I think that's 6K open gate.
Yeah. So yeah. No, that's
But you're right. Not to take away from Roving Earth. Even though, bro, you've been like being a menace in the chat. I see you.
Me?
No, Roving Earth. He was giving it to everybody. He
Lumix League.
No, he was trashing people. Hold on. Where was his comment? He said Nikon noobs. This man said Sony slobs.
Wow.
This man, yeah, he wants to be the Lumix League.
Dude, I feel like it's wild because they actually fight.
Yeah, they were going in. They was going in the chat. I was paying attention. They was going in, bro. It wasn't even no joke. But yeah, no, it was pretty wild. They was going in. But yeah, I think it could be really interesting. Israel says we need a flagship that can compete with the Z9 and the Z8's high megapixel, open gate, 60 frames per second, and better readout speeds. A RE log C4. See, and I think that I mean, I feel like he's Roving Earth responding. He says, yes, he's been a menace. I think that Lumix has a chance to really do something cool this year. And I think it'll be interesting to see what this camera actually looks like when it does come out. But for me, I don't know if, like, I don't know if the camera battle, and maybe Brandon says Roving Earth has been wearing black Air Forces.
That's
oh
so
my
funny.
gosh. No, I feel like when it comes to Lumix and even Nikon so far, they are like, I feel people jump ship for Sony. I feel like people can jump ship for Canon too. Like, I feel like a Lumix shooter will become a Canon shooter. I feel like a Canon shooter will become a Sony shooter. And I feel like a Nikon shooter back in the day would become a Canon or a Sony shooter. But I don't know if Sony shooters are becoming Canon shooters or Sony shooters are becoming Nikon shooters. And I don't know if anybody is becoming a Lumix shooter. So that's not a dig. That's just me being, that's my, I don't know. I'm saying I don't know. So hold on, before you comment, let me finish. So here's my thought though. I believe if last year Canon did everything to make Canon shooters happy, and to give Lumix and Nikon and Fuji shooters something to consider, I think this is the year that Nikon and Lumix, I'm giving you your praise here, this is the year that they release something that makes people go, I mean, I know I shoot Canon, but dang, that Lumix is nice. Granted, they're not more than $5,000 invested.
It's all fair. I mean, people switch up. Luka got traded to LA. People switch up all the literal time, and
you're right. People do make bad decisions every day.
Who knows? Not that it was Luka's fault, but well, I mean, who knows? But I feel like people have the right to switch up camera brands at any point in time, and they will be embraced by their gangs immediately, which is dope. So I don't want to sound like there's a ton of Lumix hate. When I tell you I have never shot on a Lumix, have I touched a Lumix camera?
I have. I shot with the S5 too. And it was good.
Yeah.
It was good. I struggle. Again, it's the same deal. It's the same deal with all these camera brands. the mounts. The mounts are the trap.
Yeah.
They're the handcuffs.
Yeah.
Whatever mount you choose to go with, that's the handcuff. That's why like of all the mounts, the Nikon mount to me is the most is probably the easiest one to, if you're gonna lock yourself to one.
Mm-hmm.
Because like even like I have a lot of Canon stuff, a lot of Canon RF stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I am locked to the Canon RF mount because of my Reds.
Mm-hmm.
And because my Reds have that, I have no choice. I can't, like, even the cameras that I choose to take photos with, I just choose to go RF because, well, heck, I already got RF and they work on my lenses. So, like, you really do have to figure out what mount you want to go with. The L mount is great. The Z mount from Nikon is great.
Mm-hmm.
The RF mount is great. The Sony E mount is great. You just got to figure out which box you want to play in.
Yeah.
I like the Nikon mount because, as we talked about earlier, you're locked to Nikon, but you can flirt with Sony.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You can flirt with EF. You can flirt with PL.
Yep.
So yes, I think that's sort of my thought.
If Canon would stop suing people, maybe we might be able to use that RF a little bit more.
Bro. Hey, thanks so much for checking out this clip. But you know what's better than watching these clips? Enjoying the show live, which we do every single Friday at 11 o'clock Central Standard Time. The best part is if you disagree with what we have to say, you can tell us that live in the chat. So we'd love to see you there this Friday.